Well, let's get into this. Talking mods, must-have mods for the new Bronco 2024, because we did this in 23. So 2024, what are you looking at for your first mod on the new Bronco?
Well, so metal bumpers, straight up. I'm not a plastic bumper guy, and they give it more clearance, and they just look cool, but they're completely functional. So you mount lights to it. The people that bolt on the little cactus smasher onto their plastic bumper, that's just going to go right through the radiator. Yep. You can't mount that to plastic. So I'm a bumper guy. Front and rear bumpers make a world of difference because you have clevises and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. See, I like the modular bumper on the Bronco because it is metal. Like, you have the plastic one, but you can get the modular front bumper. And I like that one. And I like that you can pull the sides out and, make it kind of a stubby bumper.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it does well. For me, I'm going lift and tires. Like, I think hands down, that is the first thing that every Bronco owner should look at, is lift and tires, because like, I don't know, just like for me, a 4-door Bronco with 37-inch tires has the perfect stance, and so, but you got to get a little bit of a lift to get that, clear those 37s. And so, yeah, you could do a simple puck lift, or you could go as much as you did and do that stage 8 icon lift with
stage 7
with, new shocks and springs and like all of the, all the components. So you got a $10,000 option or a $500 option. Yeah. And it depends on what you're going to use it for. I would love to, if I had a new Bronco, I'd take it off road. I'd take it up to Moab. And so, I'm going to go for the $10,000 option and, 37-inch tires or, bigger if I could get it. So
but even the Broncos that come with the 35-inch white letter tires, a 1-inch lift, it makes it look a lot better, and you do get 1 inch more clearance. Yep. So, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Mod number 2. What do you got?
Mod number 2 for me is the lift kit. Oh. So, and I have, like you said, the stage 7 icon kit, which is around $9,000. It's not cheap. It's full coilover with big reservoirs and drives just as nice as a stock Bronco. So there wasn't any downside to it other than it was expensive.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that for me is hands down is lift kit with 37-inch tires.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm copying your Bronco. I didn't mean to do this.
We didn't look at each other's list.
Well, no, I'm copying like what's on your Bronco. My second one would be the KC Highlight Pro 6 LED 50-inch bar that you have on your Bronco right now, because I think it looks super sweet. And you also have the lift and tires that I talked about. But and for all of you who are watching this on YouTube, feel free to click the link in the description below where you can see any of these parts. But Tom's Off-Road has the KC Highlights Gravity 50-inch light bar, and it looks great. I'm looking out the window because I can see it right out the window. But it looks really good. It fits the Bronco well. It doesn't stick up too much. And it's just a nice upgrade to have. Not super practical, like how often do you need, I don't know how many lumens of light that is, 1 billion lumens of light.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not working at a construction. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I was in Indianapolis at the PRI show, and I had to park underground, and I'm like, I've never had a truck this high. And you and I had that competition on whose truck could be taller. Well, I'm going through, and the lights are like pushing the little round tube that says, don't be any taller than this. And I'm sort of like lifting it. So I had to like navigate through the parking garage looking for high spots. And I had just told myself all day, don't forget about the light bar. So when I left, I didn't just go tearing out of there.
Yeah.
But I made it in and out, but I'm absolutely at the limit.
Yes, for sure. At the limit of parking in a parking garage. But yeah, I like that. I like that light bar. It's about $2,000. And yeah, it's a good one for sure. All right. Number 3.
My third Bronco upgrade is the exhaust system. I just got to tell you, they're so quiet right from the factory.
Right.
And they've got an auto start. And you auto start it and you can hear it honk at you, which is really annoying. But it'll start up and I can't tell if it's running or not.
Yeah.
So I put the exhaust on it and now it's got a little bit of a growl. So you almost, when I start it up, someone's walking down the sidewalk, they'll turn around to see if it's showing its teeth. It's just a little growl.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference, but it's also fun. But there's no drone. It's not obnoxious.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we just drove the Raptor and we kept it in off-road, or what was it? The Baja exhaust. Yeah. And it was growly. It sounded great. Like that is, definitely the exhaust tone that you're going for.
And this is the axle back. So it's literally just the muffler with, 14 inches of pipe on each end.
Yeah.
You can do it in your driveway. You don't even have to lift your truck to do it. And they're like $700.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's a good one. A good one to just make it a little bit more growly. My third one is the Putco Clearview top. I talked about this. This is one of the things that I saw at SEMA that I was like, man, that is actually really cool. Obviously gimmicky. Like I'm going to just be honest, it's about $2,000 and it gives you kind of like in the winter, it gives you like a pretty view, like you can see out the top. Like, I think that's pretty cool. And, but yeah, I mean, not very, there's no use for it other than just having more light coming in, but I think it's cool. And, it's the Putco Element Skyview clear lid hardtop roof. And what it does is it takes those 2 front panels on your Bronco and you pull those out and you put this in and it's totally clear and you can see up to the sky while you're in your Bronco.
That's kind of a throwback. Ford had in the early 50s a car called the Sunliner.
Oh, yes.
And the front half of the roof was glass.
Yeah.
And other than the chrome around it, and this to me one of my favorite Fords of all time, but I think it's neat. And I would absolutely, if I had an extra $2,000 to blow, I can buy a lot of small parts with that kind of money.
Yeah.
But it's like, it is really cool because every time you're in the car, you're like, clouds, sun, rain, you get to see it all.
Well, and even people sitting in the back, it doesn't feel as claustrophobic being back there. It's a little bit more open. So yeah.
That claustrophobic thing though, I think is more of a 2-door thing.
Yeah, that's
true. The 2-door Bronco. The 4-door seems to be a lot more open.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more room.
My fourth mod would be the electric steps, the step sliders by Rock Slide Engineering. And I've installed them in my truck and they're super beefy. They look military grade. I mean, they're really awesome. And when the steps retract, they go completely flush, and there's just, all you can see is the seam where they disappeared into and they become full on rock sliders. If that's the look that you're going for, but they are very functional. They're both steps and rock sliders.
Yeah, I love those and they're great on the new Bronco. And I took a Bronco through Moab. Like I went to Hell's Revenge and Top of the World with this Bronco and they had the step sliders. And man, I mean, I pounded on those things pretty hard, just going through obstacles and they held up great. The doors opened and the steps folded down, when you needed them to. And it was great. So I really like those. I actually went a different direction and I went with the AMP Power Step, which Tom's Off-Road has both of these. We'll put links in the description for those. And what I liked about the AMP Power Step is it actually folds up under the Bronco so you can't see anything when you're just sitting there. So I think another thing you would need is something to cover that pinch weld underneath the door. But yeah, the AMP step tucks up under there really nicely. So when the door is closed, you can't see anything there. So you kind of have two options there. You have the step slider for the off-road guy, and then the amp power step for someone who's just like, oh no, like I just need an extra step. But I'm not going to take this off-road and beat it up.
Yeah. The cool thing about the amp steps is they disappear.
Totally.
Like when they're folded up, you can't tell there's a step there. And on the early Broncos, they're really sweet because they completely tuck up underneath.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. That's where I fell in love with them, was on the early Bronco.
Yeah. So how about number 5 for you? What do you got?
So number 5, I went engine horsepower. So if I had a Bronco today and just wanted a little more horsepower, I would do two things. I'd do a K&N intake and a Mishimoto intercooler. And you're looking at, I mean, you're probably, obviously this is on paper, but it's probably 20 to 30 horsepower just from those two upgrades. They're really great. And I think those are really great upgrades for the 6th gen Bronco, just kind of getting more airflow in there, getting colder air into the engine, and, getting cool air in that intercooler. Like, it does make a difference when you're driving around, and I think you'll feel that power. So yeah, that's my upgrade.
Would I be able to hear like more intake or more turbo, or no?
Maybe. I'm not sure how much more noise it adds. But yeah, probably with that K&N, you probably hear a little bit more, but not a ton.
Because the stock stuff's really muffled.
Yes.
So I know when you typically do like K&N products or things like that in other cars, you get to hear more of the engine, which is pretty cool.
And that is the thing. Ford built the motor, with all the restrictions that are required. And so when you get these aftermarket parts, you're able to kind of peel back a little bit some of those restrictions and open it up a little bit more. And so that's what you're experiencing when you get an aftermarket part. You're just getting a little bit more breathability and maybe not all the precise restrictions that Ford is required of.
Well, for my number 5, everybody knows all the stuff I put on my Bronco. I like it so much, I wouldn't even take any of it off.
Yeah.
So I called someone and I asked this person who has done some desert racing and real rock climbing in the mountains and stuff. You get one guess.
Desert racing?
Yeah.
Ian?
Nope. Okay. That was your guess. Then this person's number 1 Bronco mod for Gen 6 was the Super Chips.
We're just going to have to beep that up.
Did you put that T in there? Super Chips Flash Cow. And it lets you shut off all of the annoying features you don't like the worst thing is the horn for me.
Oh yeah, the double beep.
You hit the button and it horns. It's so loud. It's like I'm trying to be sneaky here and close my door, and if the keys are in there or the keys are not in it, and everyone knows you've arrived. So, but it also lets you shut off the auto start and some other annoying features. So there is no button on my truck to turn that on and off.
Really?
Yeah. Most cars have a button on the dash somewhere. And so, that was his number 1 choice. Okay. Before we go to number 2, I'll give you another hint.
Okay.
Without giving it away. We've already interviewed him once.
Andrew?
Nope. Okay. You get one more chance after this. So his second favorite Bronco mod for Gen 6 is the metal cloak bumpers, the base model plastic bumpers. He says offer 0 protection, and plus you get with this the metal cloak bumpers. It puts the winch much lower and the fair lead and everything, so that it doesn't block any of your cooling functions that you have. Like there's these little vents that open and close that Ford has all set into the front of the truck, and a lot of the bumpers block that off, which is not good for your engine.
Justin Barnes.
You got it. Third clue was his Bronco's yellow.
Yep. Okay.
I figured you'd get it. So
I'm like sitting here racking my head. Who? And I didn't mean Andrew. I meant Todd Zerker. Andrew is his co-driver or driver. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's right. And his so Justin Barnes' third pick, saved the best for last. He said is the Solo Motorsports King Shocks lift kit, suspension kit. He says it is absolutely incredible. And if anybody would know, Justin would know.
He would know.
He's run Baja full speed. So he has had 2 other lifts already on his Bronco that he's taken off his Gen 6.
Wow.
Like, who better to ask, right?
Yes.
So, and he just says it's fantastic. He can't believe how fast he can rip over, the bumps and the whoops and everything. And whoops.
That's where they got their name. Whoops.
Yeah, that's right. And he's over the dunes. And this guy's doing this. Like, he's jumping his truck on the dunes, and he's got a 2-door yellow Gen 6. Sorry. Cyber orange.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not yellow.
Yeah.
And all his trucks are about the same color.
Yeah, they're all yellow. But he has an incredible crawler, like rock crawler, early Bronco. And yeah, even his Gen 6 is super capable. He's a great driver. Like, he took his Gen 6 up the McGrew Trail, and yeah, I mean, just, went up it with all the early Broncos, like it was nobody's business. So,
and I got to ride with him on the McGrew Trail in his Bronco, and it was amazing. I mean, he's doing stuff in this Bronco that I wouldn't have tried, but I have zero experience.
Yeah.
And, he has all the experience. And then, we were so far up the trail, and then I was offered to drive the Rebel Rally Bronco, the Roaming Wolves Bronco. And I just jumped in the truck and we went, and he's like, well, where's Donnie? Like, did the woods consume him or the rocks? And I kind of left him at the altar. It was pretty funny.
That's funny.
That was a trail, faux pas. What do you call it? Trail courtesy.
Yeah.
Just to tell the person you're not riding with them anymore.
Yeah.
But,
hey, I'm going to go somewhere else. Yeah. That's
I got a better offer.
Well, there you go. There's our must-have mods for the new Bronco. What do you guys think? Anything on the list that you think should be on there or shouldn't be on there? Let us know. But there you go. Must-have mods for the new Bronco. Fun episode, man. Driving Broncos around and talking Bronco parts.
Awesome. I can't wait. We're going to be doing more Gen 6 content, driving Broncos, more new parts, and installing parts, and it's going to be incredible. And hopefully Ford comes out with more new stuff that we can drive.
Totally.